with this fantastic ensemble. This is the second piece I write for them. The last one was 2009, yes, 7 years ago. They say that your cells regenerate themselves in 7 years, so another chance. Thank you for that. From the first time that I worked with them, I think well, I was a very different composer back then, and after really working and getting to know them, workshopping with them, being a children's babysitter and all that, after that I somehow felt like there are some things that I should have done. That I want to do some things with these people. I had this in my mind for 7 years, and I got to do them. So that was one. I want to do thing X, and I want to do thing Y. And like I nowadays work, first of all, I also workshop a lot with like individual. I would go to a clarinet player, and flute player, and harp player, and percussion player before writing this. I didn't come to Berlin, unfortunately I couldn't, but I did it in Finland. And study the possibilities, go through a lot and record all this stuff. So I had things that I wanted to do, and then I found some new things that I want to do. And every time I was working, somehow it was on my mind to ask the players, like, how does it feel to do this? I guess I was trying to play it safe. That, can you do this for how long? If we found something really exciting technique, is it hard for your, let's say, your mouth or your hands or your nails or whatever? I was asking always this, and this somehow led into thinking about this piece in a way that I would, well, composers, I guess a lot of people always categorize things. In order to compose, I had like thing 1 and thing 2, and these things are similar, these are opposite. And these decisions were basically made based on the questions that I asked, like how does it feel, how hard is this, how much force do you have to use, and so on. And what does it do to your body to do this? For instance, there's one section in the leading to the premiere, which was the day of the premiere we met. This was also a very, like Malta said, they're very fast, they're very good. I think Matthias said that feels somehow wrong that I play so loud, it comes so loud from my instruments, but that's like part of it, the thing that everybody's kind of playing forte in this part, but it's just like the percussion will actually, when you do kind of the same thing on different instruments, it's the percussion that produces a loud sound, for instance. So there's loud where it's like doing something, but it's not really loud, and then there's this when percussion is just the same thing and it is loud. So that's one thing, like I can work with that. And then, well, generally I guess I have to say that it's very soft music, very sensitive music. And after realizing that it's very quiet, I want to also have this, as I was thinking how the musicians, what are they doing, how they're feeling. I want to have this one kind of vent, the one place where they can blow up steam, like maybe, you know, use aggressive sounds, somehow let all that out. So there's also one very loud part. I'm not saying when, we will find it. And actually at this point I already knew, okay, studies, so there's basically 5 studies. The first 2 ones are very close, so if you start counting you might end up with 4. I'm sorry. But anyway, so they're very clearly sectional. Okay, these are studies, and then dealing with how does it feel to play, somehow, and the kind of listening that this piece invites you to do, it's kind of I see it as kind of an empathetic. Like you see them struggling and something like that. And then when I had the title, I do what a professional composer apparently does. I guess I googled it, my title, and I found a very interesting article actually. Well, a lot of very interesting reading about empathy, which I think is a very important fact. We should all practice it. It's possible to practice it. It was, in case you want to read it maybe, it's from the New York Times. It's called The Brain's Empathy Gap. Well, if you Google this piece, you will find it. The name of this piece. Or you go to my website, there's a link to it. But really the crucial point of the article was, it was about a neuroscientist who study brain and how what we see affects them, and what people, when they feel certain things, how does it look in our brain. And he was studying empathy, and he was focusing on conflict situations, wars, and stuff like that. And he would do a study he would study both the Palestine people and Israeli people who have a long-standing conflict. And they would also, so they would show one side of them, the other parts, misery or somehow, I forget the details already, and then study their brain, and then they would show them something else as a control, like suffering of people from South America. And they found out that these people who are in conflict, they officially kind of hate each other. They still feel empathy towards each other, but they don't feel empathy to the people on the other side of the world. So I guess the conclusion is that the opposite of love is not really hate, but indifference. Okay, this is something. But still studying this empathy and really thinking about it, and of course thinking of the poor musicians playing my music, I realized that, and now we come to the end part of this, that very often we seem to empathize with an individual instead of a larger group. Like there's a human interest side of some news, like we hear one person's kind of micro history, and we kind of, oh, this must be really horrible, this war, instead of just reading about the war and casualties and so on. So I want to focus on this, to have a kind of a solo in the end. I'm not telling who it is, but you will find out who it is. And knowing the instruments, of course, they're all, like I like to call them, like superheroes. But then I was thinking of who am I going to make this also, because it's kind of parts, it's very extended, it's kind of almost, I don't want to say suffering, but it's kind of it takes a lot of stamina and perseverance to play this solo. So I was thinking who could it be, and then I knew. And okay, I have to stop now.